What's up guys, welcome back for another Yugioh Pro tool video. Finally the Harpie link has been revealed, it's up on Yugioh Pro, let's try it out. Harpie Conductor, the first time I saw this card I was like, well, this seems underwhelming, right? It's very similar to Great Fly. The generic Link 2 wind monster, outside of the fact that your Harpie Conductor is of course a Harpie monster, so of course triggers your Harpie's field spell, can be reborn by something like Hysteric Party, right? At least the huge soul charge for your Harpie ladies. Currently the main deck 41 cards. The biggest change I've made compared to my previous list was adding in Trap Trick. You know, the trap card. Copying any normal trap, and I'm mostly looking at magical heads here immediately during the battle phase of your opponent. When your opponent enters the battle phase, using the trap trick, copying your magical heads, right, and then immediately use the same magical heads you just set, right. And as you know, magical heads, searching Hysteric Sign, and eventually, like after all those steps, hopefully you will get that Hysteric Sign search, since again one of the biggest searches, or one of the most important cards here, is your trap card. Is it Featherstorm? I believe it's Featherstorm. The huge skill drain during your opponent's turn, right? Again, a very important card, and it's also something that you want to recycle. One of the new cards, a new spell, not really sure about the name. It's like a very weak or a very small pot of avarice for the archetype. It's also Feather, I can't remember the name. You know which one I mean. Like target like 3 different Harpie cards in your graveyard, shuffle them back into the deck to draw 1 card. I guess that's fine, but an early game, and I'm talking about Harpies. Harpies is not the top tier deck. This new Link Monster Conductor does not solve the problems currently that Harpies currently have, as in not being able to search out the Hysteric Sign, sadly. But the reason why I'm not playing the themed small pot of avarice is that I want to focus on at least getting this deck as much consistent as possible early game. Okay, mid to late game you'll have the targets needed for that pot of avarice, but early game you'll just sit, or at least it will just be dead in your hand, so not really sure about the card. You might want to main deck it, but again, currently the deck is already at 41 cards and I want to cut it down to 40. It's so important, you know, that small percentage of increasing your chances of drawing into Hysteric Sign is so important. Anyway, Harpie Conductor, the Link 2, again, it's quite okay. During playtesting, it was definitely better than I expected, opening up the 2 extra monster zones pointing down left and down right, and it also has a built-in destruction effect once per turn, by the way. Although, well, it does protect your Harpie monsters when, like, destroy a battle or by a card effect, but you have to destroy a spell or trap on your side of the field, and as you know, I get why. You can trigger your continuous spell or your continuous trap, for example, as in reborn something or search something. That's fine, but why doesn't it search an Hysteric Sign, right? Upon summon, or at least upon Link summon, using 2 winds, searching Hysteric Sign. Ooh, that would have been super delicious. Anyway, as you saw, triple evenly matched in the main deck probably hints towards that this deck just wants to go second. Having the extra card, having the 6th card, it definitely helps, and especially because of the evenly matched in the main deck. I mean, it's still Harpies, it's not a top tier deck, and it's good, but it needs more tools. It needs much more to compete with the decks that are better, like a lot of decks, right, currently in the top tier, at least in the top tier metagame in our format. One of them being Sky Striker, Trickstars, and again the Trap Trick, using it, and that's something I like. Okay, you can potentially search magical heads, but if it's not needed, you can search again the at least the also important Harpie's skill drain. Just block your opponent, and maybe they're not expecting it, just block your opponent here with a monster effect. Getting the search here with the Hysteric Sign, and eventually was kinda lucky drawing into another copy of Chandler, and of course using Tomahawk. Such a ridiculous card here in Link format, and that's something again I like, is your Harpie's Conductor doesn't need like 2 Harpies, it only needs 2 wins, so again very easy to make. Griffin should be a staple, I think, here in your extra deck, discarding something, potentially triggering your Hysteric Sign if you discard it from your hand, but most importantly, just get back something like a Feather Storm or maybe another copy of Hysteric Sign. And that's why I definitely like Griffin. And let's not forget its, well, quote-unquote skill drain effect as well against special summoned monster. Wasting the Feather Storm here, but in the long run it's not going to matter. Link Kuriboh would always have been negated, right, due to Griffin, so but again, it doesn't really matter that much. Game number 3, I think, another duel. Opponent starting off, keeping Ash Blossom, I guess. I might, well, maybe I should have used it on the Isolde, prevent the opponent from using or the searching Armageddonite, right? But, well, I guess it's fine. Eventually he's going for the Phantom Knight Link. I'm glad he's not going for, like, you know, what is it called? The shenanigans of discarding multiple cards from your opponent's hand. You know, the Link 4, the name slips my mind. It's late. Anyway, so having, okay, this is an okay setup, I guess, having the Trap Trick again. And I believe we knew at least he had double Fog Blade, but again, Fog Blade isn't that great against Harpies, especially because of the field spell. Dodge the destruction here, thanks to my Trap Trick, searching out, I believe, Feather Storm? Yep, Feather Storm, pretty much blocking him here due to Fog Blade, so now he can't attack and he's pretty much blocked. He has no option to get rid of my, at least to get rid of the Fog Blade, right, or get rid of the monster, so I can still, at least I'm still in the duel, right, having Harpist eventually, going for Conductor as well, again making Tomahawk, sacrificing the, well, not the battle phase, but sacrificing the damage from the battle phase for good use, eventually going for Cerberus again, getting the extra draw, basically hoping with, you know, those 2 extra draws, hoping to draw into Hysteric Sign, but nope, that's not the case, it's all good. Going for Griffin again, discarding the last card and setting the Feather Storm, also important, Feather Storm during your opponent's turn, just block them from using monster effects, right? Okay, Hero Lives is fine, you won't get the Shadow Mist effect or Stratos effect, right? And Feather Storm will just block the Armageddonite from activating, so no malicious search. Okay, again, all good. Conductor eventually is protected by its effect, popping. Is it the continuous spell? Yeah, continuous spell, reborn, monster reborn, something from the grave, get a search, and now again I should be in a very good position. Not really sure if I can attack for a game. I don't think so, but again, alright, something I haven't mentioned here in the video is that I also added in 1 copy of Harpie Dancer. Again, because your Harpie Link also has a built-in effect that once per turn, if it's like a wind monster or a Harpie monster is bounced back, another monster, right, you can send back a special summoned monster from your opponent, at least on your opponent's side of the field, back to the hand. So, okay, quite cool, especially with Harpie's Dancer. So, taking in that 1 copy of Dancer might be good. It's also searchable, of course, with Channeler or something like that. So, you can, if you have the Harpie Link monster on the field, searching your Dancer is quite easy for the deck. Eventually using Oracle, yep, indeed, that's a GG. Not really sure if I want to make more copies of Oracle. Currently at 1 in the deck, but it's also a card that it's also a card that's not really good early game, but becomes better mid to late game. I'm kind of forced to waste the Feather Storm here since it's a card I needed, or at least I'm definitely going to need during his turn. But nope, sadly I don't have it at my disposal. He knows both sets, right, and the card in my hand being the Harpie's Field spell, having both Seduction and the Trap card, I guess it's fine, but the Thunder, at least the Thunder archetype is just craps on this deck, no searches, and okay, for example, your Xerophine is also a card that can potentially block like a Thunder Dragon Search, skill draining all of your opponent's cards, but still, I think he would have been able to go for game if he used his Thunder Dragon Fusion after the second Thunder Dragon, or am I missing something? I might be mistaken, but it's not going to matter, as you will see in a couple of moments. Drawing Hysteric Sign, using Channeler to eventually go for Harpist indeed, and yeah, there is a Xerophine, but sadly it's only at 3200, so the one of the Thunder Kings is a Titan. Titan will just eventually suicide, right, and now he will just be able to attack for game. So a bit bummer, but conclusion, or at least all in all, I think the new Harpie monster is quite good. I'm not really sure if it replaces your Great Fly. Or it might be better to run both at 1 in the extra deck, but then again, there were duels where I needed the second Conductor, especially because it's a Harpie monster, special summoning at will, triggering your field spells, so again, it's something to keep in mind. But the extra deck might be tight, so again, it's up to you if you want to main deck those extra copies. 41 cards in the main deck, but as I mentioned before, I definitely want to cut at least 1 card to make it 40. You know, make it as consistent as possible. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. YgoPro signing out. Peace.